Welcome back to another episode of Stay on Target. I'm your host, Dustin. This is a Barely on Target edition. With me, I have the librarian. Say hello to everybody out there, librarian.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here.
We're going deep here today. We have a theory. It's a very interesting theory that we've been developing. We want to share with you. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
5 reasons why we think Ezra is the new Inquisitor Marrok. Number 5. Rumored to have male stunt actor Paul Barnell. The Inquisitor looks like a male to me. I believe he's a male. I don't think it's going to be Barriss Offee because it just doesn't look female to me. And if you look at Iman Esfandi, who is going to be playing Ezra in the Ahsoka series, it looks like his build. So that's number 5. What do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. You saw the images.
Slim, athletic build. It's hard to tell with armor, but yeah.
Right, exactly. So they could be pulling an audible here. Reason number 4 is this Inquisitor fights Ahsoka in multiple locations, which is interesting. It could all be on the same planet, so we could be reaching a little bit here. But we know that Ahsoka knows how to deal with Inquisitors. We've seen it multiple times. We saw it in Rebels. She dealt with the Inquisitors pretty handily, and they lasted okay, but she took care of them quick. And then in Tales of the Jedi, we saw her take care of an Inquisitor in like 3 moves without even having a lightsaber.
Yep, that's why she's my favorite.
Right.
Oh.
Right. Librarian's favorite for sure. Makes sense again why it's Ezra. It seems like it'd be somebody who had to be trained as a Jedi, or at least is powerful enough in the Force and with the dueling capabilities to last against Ahsoka to fight in multiple locations. Plus, it seems like this person is specifically hunting her. This is all from very limited information, and Ezra's obviously very powerful in the Force.
Right.
A lot of time has gone by. His skills have probably even improved.
Makes him a formidable opponent.
Right.
Even for Ahsoka.
Point number 3.
Right.
Ezra, throughout Rebels, we know, has had an affinity for helmets and unique lightsabers. We see throughout the show that Ezra likes to collect helmets and wear them. Plus, this new helmet, which we'll get to point number 1, also looks like a knight's helmet, which is interesting to me. I feel like that's another point in this whole Ezra being the Inquisitor. Also, the lightsaber designs for Inquisitors basically was designed to throw off the Jedi's dueling capabilities. It was a crutch for Inquisitors to overpower Jedi because Jedi were not used to fighting armored and lightsabers that spun.
Okay, yep.
So it was also a crutch for the Inquisitors that weren't as good of duelists to fight Jedi and to take advantage of their weaknesses. We know that Ezra also had his own unique lightsaber, the first one he made anyway, where he had a blaster, a stun blaster, and a lightsaber all in one. And he even said in the show, I think in some ways, it was a crutch for him to basically overcome his lack of dueling abilities.
Right.
So,
well, he was what age when he started?
He was very young.
Teenager,
he was a teenager when he started.
Yeah.
He was not proficient in lightsaber dueling.
Okay.
So to compensate for that, he made the blaster lightsaber combo.
Right. Makes sense.
But to me, that also signifies in a way that he's not outside the realm of using a similar style where it throws off his opponents, which would be using an Inquisitor's blade.
Okay.
That's another reason. I think that's a really good one. All right, but number 2, we know that Ezra has some dark side tendencies. We see it throughout the Star Wars Rebel series that he has an affinity for the dark side. First, one of the biggest ones is that he opens a Sith holocron with Darth Maul.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's dark.
That's dark. And that Sith holocron kind of haunts him throughout the show, in the very beginning of the show. Right. And Kanan could even sense his dark side tendencies and hid that Sith holocron, hopefully keep him from wanting to dive into that. Plus, with his background of his parents
Right.
and things there and feeling less than. He was a bit of a street urchin in some ways, stealing. He was already doing some stuff that was kind of shady. So we know he's already got those darker tendencies. It might not be out of the realm that somebody was able to convince him to lean into that, especially out of survival or through torture.
Right, they tapped into something that was already there.
Exactly. One of the biggest things, too, was Darth Maul wanted him to be his apprentice. And then we also see that Darth Sidious actually wanted him to be his apprentice.
Wow.
That should be a pretty big sign right there that he's powerful in the Force.
Right, if they both recognized it.
They both recognized it, and they both wanted him to be their apprentice. The very last point of this video, and I think this is the strongest one out of all of them. Point number 1, the name. All right, so this first leaked in the Lego set Ahsoka Tano's T6 Jedi shuttle, and then his name being Marrok. Marrok. That's the name. Marrok.
The Inquisitor.
The Inquisitor's name is Marrok, and they announced that in that Lego set.
Got it.
So the big thing here that, if you look into it, it's kind of funny. There's a lot there. There's a lot. We're going to unpack it real quick. The Marrok name comes from an Arthurian legend where an honorable knight, and you could say in this situation, Jedi Knight, is turned into a wolf. Basically, it's a human who becomes a wolf, which in turn makes you a werewolf, by an enchantress. In this case, it was Irma in the Arthurian legend, who was on the...
Arthurian meaning from the days of King Arthur.
Yeah, King Arthur. Yes, okay. Sorry. Yep. Thank you for... so it turned into a wolf. Wolf could also signify a hunter. Wolf could also signify Loth Wolf, which
yes,
we
we've
know
seen those.
Ezra was kind of intertwined, and that was actually a big thing for him. He kind of
had a connection.
He had a very strong connection with that. So that would make sense. It also could be a play from Dave Filoni finding influences in his story. Because we know that Dave Filoni loves wolves.
Right. He wore the shirt all the time.
He wears the shirt, and on his hat, he's even got a pendant that's got a wolf on it. I think that we're getting into the mind of Dave Filoni here, and he's almost looking for just wolf legends, lore and applying them to his show. Right. Because this is kind of his coup de grace, I think you could say in some ways, Ahsoka, which is basically season 5. But anyway, getting back to it, Irma, she's from the Council of Morgan Le Fay, which is interesting to me because Morgan Le Fay is depicted as the villain, but she's an enchantress. But the interesting there is Morgan Le Fay. Who else in this series is named Morgan? It's Morgan Elsbeth is the one who's working with Thrawn.
That we saw in Mandalorian.
That we see in Mandalorian season 2.
Oh, 2.
And Ahsoka fought Morgan Elsbeth in season 2. And if you look at the trailer, there's even a scene where it looks like she's potentially, I don't know, it could just be a map, but it looks like she knows how to harness it potentially through the Force or some sort of mystical Force use, which I'm speculating might even be some Night Sister magic, which would imply that she's a type of enchantress. So potentially
connecting the dots.
Yeah, Ezra could have been mind warped or turned into a wolf / hunter / inquisitor to hunt things and be used for evil purposes instead of good. All the while, he could still be doing good things. We don't know for sure where this character is coming from. Historically, Inquisitors go after Jedi. We know that Ahsoka is technically not a Jedi.
Right.
She is just a good side Force user. Plus, we're about 6 years after Return of the Jedi, and that's actually putting us, I think that puts us at about 11 years from the end of Rebels.
Okay.
The years thing is applicable because he was turned into a wolf for 7 years when he returns from his continental wars with King Arthur, which in some ways could also even be with Thrawn. Either he was working with Thrawn for 7 years and then comes back and is turned into an Inquisitor, which could also lead to the fact that maybe Thrawn came back a lot sooner than we think. And there's another name tie-in, which is Galen Marrok.
Another one?
So Galen Marrok is Starkiller. That is Darth Vader's secret apprentice in Legends material. So that's Legends material right there. It's not canon, but
Right.
they have been
We
pulling a
know.
lot of
Yes.
Legends material into canon
Mm-hmm.
as of recent years, especially with Heir to the Empire and Thrawn. So why couldn't they do it with this? And the names are very close. They're spelled differently. Could still tie to it ultimately being Ezra. Anyway, those are our 5 points as to why we think Ezra is the new Inquisitor Marrok in the Ahsoka series. But are we right? Let us know. We want to hear from you. Let us know your theories. Are we way off the wall? Are we right on point? Who's to say until we actually see the series? It could be a red herring and the Inquisitor could be dead in the first episode. We have no idea, but I feel like as far as storytelling goes, this could be a very interesting turn, as this is the person hunting them the whole time, or is a thorn in their side, or is even bigger than that. All to come to find out that this person is Ezra and they need to turn
Wow.
Ezra back to the good side. Which even in the Arthurian legend, he still does good during that time as a wolf, but he has to go to Irma's place and he destroys the talisman that turned him into a wolf, or is that keeping him in wolf form, turning him back into a human knight.
Ooh, that'd be cool to see.
So there's a redemption there.
Mm-hmm.
He is able to redeem himself and fight the evil enchantress. The other interesting point that they say is that the enchantress gets away by turning herself into an owl.
Owl, we've seen that before.
Yeah, Morai is the owl in the Ahsoka series.
Right.
So that's some additional information there that we don't necessarily need to have, but I
Sure,
still
but it all
found
seems like a very well could tie in.
I still found it very fascinating. So anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your frenemies about us. Check out everything we got coming up. Check into our live show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Where we'll be discussing more of this and we'll be having a good time about it. But let us know in the comments below. We really want to hear from you. What do you guys think? Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.